Imagine walking into a grocery store and being told you can't buy sugar. Not because they're out of it, but because the government says your family has already used up its share for the month. That was just an ordinary Tuesday in 1943. Before your grandmother even left the house, she'd sit at the kitchen table with her little brown ration book. Issued by the Office of Price Administration, it was filled with stamps for sugar, meat, butter, coffee, and canned goods. No stamp? No sale. End of story. She didn't complain much. Nobody really did. Everyone was in it together. Across the country, local rationing boards run by volunteers from your own town decided how much each family could have. The store itself looked pretty normal. Wooden shelves, a butcher's counter, a grocer in a white apron. But shopping was nothing like today. No wandering the aisles with a cart. Most places still had counter service. You gave the grocer your list, he fetched the items, and then he checked your ration stamps before ringing you up. Meat was the trickiest. It worked on a points system. A nice sirloin might cost 12 points a pound, canned salmon closer to 16. Each person got 64 red points a month for meat, cheese, and fats. You did the math at the kitchen table before you left, because once those stamps were gone, they were gone. The shelves told the truth about the war. Canned goods were scarce because tin was needed for the military. Butter was hard to find. Coffee was rationed from late 1942 through the summer of 1943, just 1 pound per person every 5 weeks or so. Women got creative fast. Margarine instead of butter. Corn syrup for sugar. Recipes from those years are full of applesauce cakes, meatloaves stretched with oatmeal, and desserts sweetened with molasses or honey. They weren't trying to be trendy. They were just trying to feed their families. What always gets me is this. Those women, your grandmother, her mother, her neighbors, stood in those lines without much bitterness. Most Americans actually supported rationing. Their boys were overseas fighting. A little sacrifice at the dinner table felt like the least they could do. One woman wrote in her diary in 1944, "Used our last sugar stamp today. Made Harold's birthday cake anyway. Found a way. She always found a way." Rationing slowly ended after 1945. Sugar held out the longest, finally disappearing in 1947. When it was all over, a lot of families didn't rush back to excess. They kept the smaller portions. They kept the waste-nothing mindset. Those years weren't just about going without. They were about learning how to make do, and that discipline quietly became part of who they were. Today, we look back and mostly see the hardship, but those careful grocery trips, stamp by stamp, plan by plan, carried something we've quietly lost along the way. Real intentionality. Every single ingredient mattered because it cost more than just money. Next time you walk into a brightly lit grocery store and grab whatever you feel like, think of that woman carefully flipping through her ration book, figuring out how to stretch what she had. And somehow, she always found a way. Now, if you had to feed your family for a month with strict limits on sugar, meat, and butter, like they did during rationing, how would you do it? Tell me your thoughts, or any family rationing memories, in the comments. I read every single one. If this moved you, share it with someone who still remembers those days. Subscribe for more stories that deserve to be remembered.